website rnz.co.nz or radionz.co.nz. It's probably the more reliable link at the moment, /Jesse, and people can have a look.
Ready to go? Okay. Okay, as I said before, my name is Paul Newman. I'm a Detective Inspector at the National Organised Crime Group. Just set a couple of ground rules before we start. We can talk a lot about what we've located here. We're not going to be going into the Australian part of the investigation. This is New Zealand's largest seizure of cocaine. What you see here represents 190 kilograms of cocaine, from which a person has recently been arrested and charged in Australia with trying to import a portion of this. So the operation commenced in August when we received information from Australian law enforcement agencies. From that information, a boat coming out of Balboa, Panama, was identified, and on the 4th of August 2018, on the 20th of August 2018, a container listed as a shipment of bananas arrived in Auckland, New Zealand on a vessel from Balboa, Panama. A task force of Customs and Police inspected the container and found 5 duffel bags on top of the banana boxes which contained the 190 kilograms of cocaine, each weighing approximately 1 kilogram. New Zealand and Police and Customs continue to work through our liaison network and pass intelligence to our Australian partners. The joint investigation concluded in the last 24 hours with an arrest of a Sydney man for trying to facilitate the importation of part of this consignment into Australia. It's been vitally important that the cooperation of both countries' law enforcement work together to conclude successfully this operation. As you well know, this drug in the community causes a tremendous amount of social harm. The operation has shown our dedication, both police and customs, in disrupting the organised criminals that are bringing these drugs into our country and causing this devastating effect on our community.
I think it's fair to say this seizure also highlights the trans-Tasman approach of law enforcement in battling drug smuggling, both in New Zealand and Australia. It's incredibly important as part of our offshore disruption strategy that we take an internationally focused approach in dealing with risk. And I applaud our officers who work through this going through today. Carry on. The information that we received from the Australians was scant, and it's through some really good professional tradecraft of customs officers using intelligence and targeting methodologies to identify this shipment. It was no small task. I think it's fair to say that their close inspection and the concealment methodology is well known internationally, and we were able to utilise that information in our targeting approach. To be fair, the community harm posed by this consignment to the Australian and New Zealand communities is estimated at around $235 million. The shipment of cocaine itself is valued at between $28 and $36 million by New Zealand money. This may well be New Zealand's largest seizure of cocaine this year, and it eclipses the 46 kilograms seized in Tauranga last year by Police and Customs. New Zealand and Australia continue to have some of the highest prices for cocaine internationally, which makes us a viable market for these products. But it's clear that transnational organised crime have no problems in dealing with drugs across international borders, and law enforcement agencies have to work collectively together across borders in the same way, and this is an excellent example of that cooperation.
The significant seizure, as you see here, is obviously just the start. We will continue to work closely and share intelligence with our offshore partners, and it also demonstrates the effectiveness of our offshore liaison officers that work tirelessly to try and set up and connect our law enforcement agencies together, and the sharing of intelligence, which is vital for the success of these operations. Got any more? Okay. Are there any questions? Nothing's been identified yet.
Was Auckland its final destination?
For the imported container, yes.
It'd be foolish to think that New Zealand is solely a destination for drugs. This is a global industry, and Australasia is seen as a very lucrative market for drugs, where they pay, or people are prepared to pay considerable amounts of money for the product. So we are targeted, both as a destination and transit.
So the drugs came here, but they were actually sold or sent on, and were sent on disguised in Australia, right?
That was the intention, was to send the drugs on to Australia, yes.
But only a portion of
At that stage, yes.
Do you know how much?
I'm not going to comment any further on the investigation. It's an ongoing investigation in Australia. But I can say that a portion of the drugs was meant to be sent to Australia, and a person has been arrested in Sydney in relation to that.
Was arrested, I guess, for New Zealand's market.
I'm not going to comment on that.
Do you not know the answer to that?
I'm not going to comment on that. Thank you.
You talked about targeting methodologies and great work with customs officials. What do you mean exactly? Can you kind of elaborate on that and make that understandable to the general public? What were the targeting methodologies you used to identify this?
So all shipments coming to New Zealand are risk assessed against known intelligence and risk profiles. We use a mixture of our own intelligence gained from seizures and information onshore, balanced against international seizures as they come through, and we're continually looking at that global risk picture. And through the good work of the trade targeters and customs and the port inspections facility guys, they were able to narrow down a very large proportion of containerised cargo to this one shipment. Really good professional work.
When you say concealment was well known, do you mean putting cocaine on top of a bunch of bananas?
No, internationally using containerised cargo to transport large quantities of cocaine, particularly out of Central America, is a known methodology. There are many source countries around the world nowadays, but yes, Central and Southern America is well known for cocaine, but also increasingly methamphetamine.
Are there concerns about the increasing numbers of drug busts and more drugs being found here?
I think it's apparent that we're seeing a shift in supply, and with the Americas becoming more prevalent. I think there is a continual assessment on what that means to New Zealand and Australia. What's very important for us is that we work closely in the international environment to make sure that disruption for New Zealand is not necessarily just offshore, but also protecting our neighbours and our partners.
And cocaine has a high price tag here, as you said, makes it really viable here. Are there concerns that there will be more, that there's a focus on cocaine at the moment?
I think it's fair to say there is a divergence in the market away from methamphetamine, or that cocaine and MDMA are showing signs of increasing seizures. In the same token, there is a global glut of drugs in the world, and New Zealand is simply seeing the effect of that.
Recently there was reports of a banana shortage being shipped en route that something came into. Is this related?
No.
Are you now sitting across the border more small assignments of high quality cocaine, or are you still sitting methamphetamine as the number one when you're in Sydney?
I think what you're seeing here is the the targeting from South American crime cartels and gangs that see Australasia and New Zealand as a particularly lucrative market because of the prices we pay. They can afford to send large amounts and small amounts to our country, lose some and still make large profits. It makes our job vital in trying to prevent the community harm that these drugs are causing.
There is no one stream that is being utilised by the cartels to import these drugs. Sea cargo by its nature will generally see larger quantities. Mail stream will see smaller quantities, but you have passengers and courier mail and fast freight in between.
When you say the duffel bags were placed on the boxes, when you open that container, were they in fairly plain sight, or were there still other concealment?
There was some subterfuge in the placement of the duffel bags to circumvent certain types of screening. However, the type of concealment is designed to be fast access and removed, and then the container to be sent on its way.
So your investigation is continuing into this particular section here in New Zealand, or is that finished?
Yep, we'll leave the investigation in Australia. We'll leave to our Australian law enforcement partners.
But will you be continuing discussions here?
Yes.
Last questions, guys.
If it's got to this stage of the risk being made and you go public on it, have you guys close to an arrest here in New Zealand? Have you seen anything similar to what Australians did by setting up controlled delivery?
Yeah, I'm not going to comment on that, thanks.
Okay, why not?
Are there any further questions? Thank you.
Hey guys, if you want any close-ups, don't go past this yellow line, please.
It's the defending champions.
It's the hardest team in the competition and the local, you know. And then Kazakhstan, Iran, and Australia.
It would be nice to go well against Australia,
It
wouldn't
would be nice, yes.
Yeah. Great. When does it start?
It starts on the 30th of November.